What's up, everybody? On this episode of the Best of Bias podcast, you got your boy Lydell Dinero. It's just me by myself. I know last week's episode was super exciting. A bunch of guests. Thank you, Chelsea. Thank you, Damo. Thank you, Johnny Mac, for being on the first episode of 2024. But it's time for the second episode. You know what I'm saying? Today's not gonna be the longest episode because it is lightweight, my birthday weekend. Birthday's coming up here January 17th for everybody listening to the Best of Bias podcast that knows me personally. You know this. A little excursion coming up, you know what I mean? So I will be gone next week. There is no pod. I just want to let you guys know that on top. I'll talk about it again in the podcast, let you guys know as well. But yes, this week, or next week, excuse me, there'll be no pod as I will be vacationing for my birthday. So sorry, guys. Hopefully this episode will suffice. It's not gonna be the longest episode this week either, but just some sports to talk about this week. NFL, we're starting the playoffs. Just some scores from last week. Me, Chelsea, and John predicted some scores, or some games. So we're gonna see how that turned out for us. Some NFL playoffs. Talk about those matchups. Some legendary coaches have recently retired from college and NFL. So we'll talk about that. A little quick NBA check-in and not too much in the cinema corner. Just we'll review Echo. Just dropped on Disney Plus. 5 episodes all dropped at once. So I'll kind of give a brief overview on how I like that. Is that cool for y'all? Is that cool with y'all? We're going to try to keep it under 2 hours today. You know what I'm saying? Even under an hour. You know what I'm saying? We speeding through it today, but I'm still going to give y'all that quality. I'm still giving y'all what y'all want. It's the Best of Bias podcast. And we are going to try that live again. We live a little bit. So if you see me doing a little more extra, I'm just doing it for the crowd because you're trying to get live and just trying to show what we can do, trying to broaden the horizons, expanding the content. You know how I like to do it. But it's the Best of Bias podcast. It is Friday, and it's time. You know what I'm saying? A pre-birthday, pre-vacation edition of the Best of Bias podcast. I can't let y'all go into the playoffs without me talking a little something. So let's go. Let's get right into where that theme song at. It's the best of bias. You need the earful, you should try us. From pop culture to the movies to unite us. It's the best of bias. The best of bias. Yeah, it's the best of bias. Welcome. It's another episode of the Best of Bias podcast, starring yours truly. Who did you expect other than the man himself, man? Feeling a little older, feeling a little mature, you know what I'm saying? Almost to should I say it to y'all? 33 years of age, the prime age of that Larry Bird year, man. It's catching up to me. I'm getting there. I'm getting old, but hey. We loving it. We loving every second of it. We grateful for every second that we have to breathe air on this lovely earth. You know what I'm saying? We got some stuff to talk about today. Today is Friday, of course. Today is what, the 12th, January 12th. Welcome to the day, first and foremost, whether you're listening in the morning, driving to work, you listening after work, you listening on the way, to get the party started and just trying to get your vibes right. The place to stop to and get your best of bias needs, whether it's sports, movies, pop culture, superheroes, comics, anything you want to talk about, I'm going to talk about it on here. You never know what you're going to talk about. You never know who we're going to have on the Best of Bias podcast. That's the spiel for the new listeners, if you're new. But if you've been here, you already knew that. If you're part of the family, you've been here for a while. Since 2019, we've been representing that Best of Bias life. You know what I mean? So without further ado, let's get into the episode for today. Of course, like I said, it's going to be a little shorter episode today. Just a bunch of sports and a little bit of cinema corner towards the end. Echo review, Disney Plus, Marvel just dropped the show, 5 episodes, bam, bam. A little Daredevil, in Hell's Kitchen, New York, kind of like that ground level Spider-Man type stuff because they're setting up that, a little street level universe and stuff. So it's going to be cool to see what we're going to get actually from Echo, and I have some feelings about it. I mean, people may not share my opinion, but me personally, I don't know. I'm not going to spoil how I feel about it too, so I don't want to give that away. We'll talk about it when we get there, you know what I'm saying? But first, let's start with these sports like I like to do. Unfortunately, football is coming to a head, man. It's coming to an end. We're getting to the playoffs. It's the penultimate, the little tourney before we get to the Super Bowl in February. But we're edging closer and closer to that big game out there in Vegas. But before that, we had another big game, national championship. Let me get right into that. The national championship Championship was in Houston this past Monday. We had Michigan playing against Washington. On paper, I mean, people really thought Michigan was going to come in and kind of work Washington. Me personally, being a Pac-12 guy, I kind of had a little bit of bias towards Washington. Me personally didn't like them because how they derailed Oregon's season. You know, I'm an Oregon bias guy. But I wanted them to represent. It's the last year for the Pac-12. We're kind of always forgot about the afterthought of the Power Five conferences. Nobody really thought that that the Pac-12 had a chance to, do well in the college football playoffs. But seeing how Washington did against Texas last week, to talk a little bit about that, and Michigan, how they beat Alabama. We kind of felt like, Michigan had the tougher task playing Alabama because we all know what Alabama represents. But Washington, the opponents that they've been playing, leading all the way up until this game himself, they've been down a little bit during the game, but their offense was able to keep them in the game. Penix in his arm, Odunze, McMillan, Polk, man, it's like I've watched this team and rooted for them to lose so many weeks in a row that I know their whole squad. You know what I mean? But I thought that Washington's defensive line and defense could give Corum some trouble and kind of slow down that Michigan offense. Because me personally, I didn't really think J.J. McCarthy was really that great. I think he was more of a manager that leaned on Edwards, Corum, and those guys and that nasty offensive line to kind of get them through games and win them games in that defense. But that kind of showed at the beginning. Washington was able to shut down Corum a little bit. Actually, nah, that's not true at all because Edward busted for like 2 40-yard runs at the very beginning, putting up Michigan like 14-0 real early. And Washington couldn't really move the ball. Michigan's defense was kind of stifling them a lot. They ended up kicking the field goal first time down, I believe. And then it kind of took them a while to get in the rhythm and score a touchdown. But mostly the whole game, Washington was trailing. And then once Michigan kind of got that lead and was able to control the running game and Corum really got going, it kind of put it out of reach for Washington. DeBoer, the coach for Washington, is actually supposed to be getting looked at right now to replace Nick Saban in Alabama. I'm gonna talk about that in a second, but I think they kind of got outclassed. Everybody knew that Jim Harbaugh has something to prove this year with all the cheating allegations on his name. People think he's going to go to the NFL and just kind of leave the team. Either way it goes, Jim Harbaugh had to prove something and let it know that he's going to, he's going to leave it all out there. He's going to win a national championship. His dad won the, I think, FCS national championship. John Harbaugh won a Super Bowl with the Ravens. Looking good now, could possibly win another one. So this is another notch in his belt. You know what I'm saying? Now it's time for him to possibly, I think he should go to the NFL and kind of try to get with Justin Herbert, get the Chargers right, do something out there in LA. But who knows what's going to happen, man. After this win, they ended up winning 34-13. I don't know. I think he should kind of stay and just, the Big Ten is taking in a whole bunch of teams and a whole bunch of new eyes, a whole bunch of new viewership. So after winning this and, he went undefeated this year in Michigan and in a dominant fashion. So for him coming back and having all the intrigue of trying to repeat, I think it would do him some good. But at the same time, people are already kind of discrediting the team and stuff for the cheating scandals and John Harbaugh for the cheating scandal and all the associates on his team that actually contributed to cheating or whatever, sign stealing. But I don't know, man. Me personally, I think Jim Harbaugh is a good coach, a quarterback, kind of like manager. Brings the best out of any quarterback he kind of comes in contact with, but he really gets a bad rap because of his personality. You know what I mean? He kind of rubs people the wrong way. He kind of wants to be in control of his programs, and when people kind of try to step in or kind of try to tell him otherwise, he kind of bites back. And people don't always like that in power positions. You know what I mean? Michigan, he's able to be himself. He brought them the first national championship in I think like 26 years. So if he goes back, he'll pretty much be able to do whatever he wants in the program, to be honest. The recruiting isn't really great for next year, but I don't know. I don't know if that speaks to what Jim Harbaugh plans to do. I don't know if he's really on the recruiting trail because he plans to go to the NFL. I don't know, what's really going to happen, but yeah, I have mixed feelings about it, man. I didn't really want Michigan to win. I didn't want Washington to win either. So either way, one of them had to win. I think the lesser of both evils did win that game. Shout out to Michigan and all the friends and family fans that have out there of Michigan. Washington now makes his way into the Big Ten. I think his name is Kellen DeBoer. That's the coach. I know his last name is DeBoer for sure, the coach for Washington. I don't know what he's gonna do, his future. I don't know what's gonna be. He's not that big of a recruiter. He's more of like a coach that gets the best out of his players type of person. Um, Following the defeat by the Michigan Wolverines, Nick Saban did step down and retire as a head coach. You know what I mean? Was really shocking to everybody. Nobody really expected that. After 17 seasons, 6 national championships, and 9 conference titles, Nick Saban is no longer the coach of the Alabama Crimson Tide. So he's stepping down, and the coach search is kind of taking play and taking underway. And DeBoer is actually the person that they have rumored to take the place of um, Nick Saban. And I know the job is probably a hot job right now in the SEC, top-notch school, but it's going to be tough to find somebody to replace Nick Saban and try to follow in his footsteps and live in his shadow of winning 6 national titles. It's kind of inconceivable. It's kind of hard. I think it's probably damn near impossible to do to replace the best college football coach ever and try to have the fan base and all the boosters and everybody just kind of try to just fall in line and just love you right away. It's going to be tough. So for whoever takes the job, they try to take our coach out of Oregon, started a rumor mill saying Dan Lanning is going to go out there and try to become Alabama's head coach, knowing that we going crazy with our draft class, knowing we got stuff established, knowing we just got Dylan Gabriel, knowing we got Dante Moore, knowing we might get Evan Stewart from Texas A&M, all the shit that we got going right now, why would he up and leave? He's still recruiting right now. You guys talk about the recruits that we recruiting right now that we might flip, might get. And you thinking he gonna leave and go to Alabama? Phil Knight's paying him well. He said everything he wants he got in Oregon, and he's gonna stay there as long as they'll have him. So I think we'll have him for a long time. It's only been 2 seasons in. We already balling, making our way into the Big Ten. A new challenge, a new standard set, 12-team playoff. I think we'll be all right. So I don't know what's going to happen with Alabama, but I wish Nick Saban the best, man. Legendary coach, put a whole bunch of NFL prospects, players from the team into the NFL that are really thriving right now or were thriving at one point. He was part of the old school. I mean, he was probably, the schools and boosters were probably paying people behind the scenes, but he was one of the older folks, the old stalwarts that weren't really with this NIL and transfer portal stuff. So the last couple of years, it's been kind of affecting his will and want to as far as staying in the game because he doesn't want to be one of those people that are actually standing in the forefront, throwing money around at kids. I mean, he probably was doing it before, but now it's like, oh yeah, he don't want to be associated with doing it publicly. You know what I mean? If people want to play for Alabama, they want to play because it's the Crimson Tide, not because they're paying them the most money. And that's what we're seeing now. And I don't necessarily mind it. People that do mind it are kind of haterish in my eyes because damn, why can't these players make a little bit of money and play where they want to play? If they ain't doing well, if it's not a good situation for them, let them transfer if they have years of eligibility. I know it's kind of crazy right now because the scales can be tilted depending on how much money the school and how much the boosters have, and that's kind of messed up. But at the same time, it gives good football, and if the player wants to do it, let him do it, man. A lot of these players are not going to be able to make it to the NFL anyways. If these players are actually getting an education, make it an academic a thing that they have to complete. Like make them complete a certain amount of units or do something academically to be able to be eligible to transfer. Maybe that's already put in play, but I mean, there's a lot of complaining going on about players and people leaving schools of high notice, especially in the SEC, Ohio State to the world team that usually kind of like uh, hog all the good recruits. And now they're not getting recruits and losing recruits to schools that they never lost recruits to before because they have a little bit of money to give these players and promising them something that these other schools can't. You know what I'm saying? And they're not gonna get stuck on a roster behind thousands of good players because you feel like you should stockpile all these players. And if they get a chance, they're lucky. And if they don't, oh well, you got to go to a great program or whatever. Like, nah, let's spread this talent out. Let people be able to see them around the world, go to these programs where they're able to be seeing star and have a chance to make it to the next level. So I have a feeling that it's not going to stop for a while, but it's going to change real soon. But I feel like get it while the getting is good. And some of these older coaches are going to bow out before they're able to see that change actually go back to the way it was because now it's not really about what you did in the past. It's how much money you can pay and what you can offer. And that scares some people. And those people need to get out the way because there's a bunch of schools in the country, you know what I'm saying? And there's a bunch of opportunities for these players. If you want to get them out of their home state, away from their parents, out of their comfortability zone, you have to show them a little bit more. It has to be a little bit more than just the prestige of the school, because sometimes that's not working out. And they don't even get nothing out of that. Half the time, they don't get no PT. Half the time, they get out there and they're fish out of water, and they just kind of give up because the politics of football and then all that. They could be the best player in the world, and the talent can just be sucked out by politics and having to wait your time in line, and a team wanting to stockpile 5-star players and one 5-star not getting no burn for like 3 years, to where he's only about to run out of eligibility and he's finally getting some burn. And what if he gets hurt? That, like, it's too much. Let everybody go wherever they want to go. You know what I'm saying? Let them get to be able to start. Let a star from Alabama, a third string guy from Alabama, and didn't get no PT, go to Boise State and star. You know what I'm saying? Even if it's in his 4th year, he don't want to sit behind Desto McCloskey for 17 years while he waits on his chance. His talent, you know what I'm saying? It doesn't get higher. It goes down. You know what I'm saying? After these years, they start looking at you like an old man. You guys see that? You guys know that. 21, he's old. 22, he's old. 23, he graduated college at 23. He's coming out. He's going to be an old man in the league sooner than ever. Like, it's just crazy. Somehow give these kids an advantage to thrive, even out the playing field a little bit. You know what I'm saying? If they don't thrive in the NFL, at least they'll have a little money in their pocket for after they do go to school, after, because of what they got to pay to go to the school. Let them stay in school 5 years, get the most out of the school. Free living, you know what I'm saying? If you get given like a car to drive around, he's from LA, you trying to get him out to Mississippi, you give him a car to drive around in Mississippi. Like, what's wrong with that? Let these dudes live. Entice them to want to play. Don't try to promise them the NFL dream just to come and play and make your program millions of dollars. Let him enjoy the college process. Let him enjoy this. Let him enjoy his talent a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? There could be some negatives, but let me get off my high horse because it's getting a little too close to home. But Nick Saban, to your next venture, whether it be commentating, whether it be being like the big noon kickoff people, just kind of talking before the games. Big ups to you, and thank you for bringing such excitement to the NCAA and college football and the college football playoffs and all of it, because it's been great trying to beat Bama every year and trying to beat and meet that standard. It's just help make teams and programs a lot better. So I appreciate that. Week 18 in the football. Week 18 of the football. Week 18 of the NFL just passed, baby. Week 18's in the books. Last week of the NFL. Woo, man. I'm happy for it to be over, but at the same time, we had to sweat it out every week. We reviewed every week on this pod, man. Can y'all believe that? 2 years in a row. Well, I can't say every week because I think we missed a couple of weeks in the season due to unforeseen circumstances. But mostly we got on here. We put a little bit of bets in there. We gave some advice. You know what I'm saying? We did a little something. So thank y'all for sticking with me the whole season and taking this advice and just becoming a little bit smarter, picking my brain a little bit and me giving a little something back. I love to do it. And if you guys will accept my advice, keep coming back for it. I keep spinning it out every football season. I'm doing it for y'all. But anyways, last week, me, John, again, and Chelsea made some picks about these NFL games for Week 18, penultimate games. Well, for some teams, the last games. But yeah, I didn't write them down. I'm sorry, guys. So hopefully we're back to the times. You remember where I said you guys write them down to keep me honest, to let me know what's going on. You guys know I'll be making y'all some money, and y'all probably make some bets on me. So again, this is not financial advice. I'll just be giving y'all some spiel on what I think in the NFC South. You know, already know the little precursor and shit like that. But yeah, let's just see. So I'm gonna go through these scores, and let's get through it too a little rapido. NFL Week 18, starting with the Steelers and the Ravens. The Steelers won 17-10. I think the Ravens sat everybody. They had everything in the bag, solidified one seed in the AFC like 2 weeks ago. So this week they sat everybody and just played it out. It was really, really, really rainy. That's the thing about December games and January games, man. That weather's gonna be terrible. It ain't gonna be how it was in September. So it's getting a little messy out there. Both teams didn't have their starting quarterbacks. Mason Rudolph, I don't know what the what the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to do in the playoffs, quarterback wise, because that offense is terrible. And JJ Watt, TJ Watt hurt his knee. I think he strained his MCL. So not only did he miss the last game, I think he's going to miss the first game of the wild card weekend playoffs. So that might be a big detriment when we talk about the picks coming up later in there. But Steelers were able to win 17-10 and make the playoffs. So that's good for them. Texans win 23-19, winning the division for the Texans over the Colts in that I think it's AFC South. The Jaguars lost to the Titans 26-20. Jaguars missing the playoffs after starting so crazy. I think I predicted at the beginning of the season they may have the 1 seed in the AFC due to an easy schedule, but I guess yeah they blew that due to a lot of injuries. Man, I think Jaguars, I think Trevor Lawrence played almost every game. He didn't really miss any games towards the end, but he was injured a lot. I remember he hurt his knee, he hurt his ankle, got bent all the way back. Like he was going through it on his lower body. He's such a tall kid, you know. You got to keep him upright, and his line wasn't really blocking for him that well this year. Receivers have been in and out. Yeah, I think Tank Bigsby, their rookie running back, got hurt. Didn't see much of him towards the end of the year. A lot of ETN, but not much of Tank Bigsby. Maybe he ran out of the fell out of the rotation, but the defense was good. Josh Allen, Walker finally showed up. He was the number 1 pick a couple of years ago, surprisingly, and he was pretty quiet the last couple of years, but he showed up and did a little something this year, but still they weren't able to make the playoffs, which is crazy. After we thought they would after the year they had last year and the change of Urban Meyer and all that stuff. But man, kind of weird to see. Vikings lost to the Lions 30-20. I think the loss to the Lions kept them out of the playoffs. Yeah, it was pretty ugly. Lions win the NFC, I think it is NFC North. Yeah, they won that division, hosting a playoff game now. The Saints and Falcons, which is a funny game to me because it's the NFC South. I wanted both teams to lose, of course, but one of these teams had to win just in case we lost to the Panthers to get into the playoffs, and the games were happening simultaneously. So it kind of motivated them to play harder. At the beginning of the game was kind of nip and tuck, but the Saints ended up taking a big lead towards the middle of the game. The Saints did end up winning, and you know, Saints are the biggest rivals for the Bucks. But the Buccaneers, as I'll talk about later, did end up winning their game 9-0. So it made the game, whoever won that game, null and void. So it didn't matter anyway, which I loved that. I loved it. I loved it. Just come on up. It was one of the greatest things of the weekend. I'm so excited it happened. But I'm gonna get there when I get there. But Saints win, don't even matter. Jameis Winston audibles at the end of the game to score a touchdown to go up 48. What was it? 48-17. Even though they were supposed to go in the victory formation, but they went up and scored a touchdown in the last second, making Arthur Smith hella mad. Coach wanted to fight. Jameis Winston actually called the audible himself. Everybody villainized Jameis Winston for a week just for him calling that audible himself. He said it was a team decision. The coach told him to, Dennis Allen told him to take a knee, but he didn't do that shit. Which is funny though. But Arthur Smith subsequently got fired after that game, and that left another head coach vacancy. I think Mike Vrabel, excuse me, got fired from the Titans as well. Both head coach and GM from the Bears got fired. Pete Carroll, man, I'll get to him too, but he stepped down. He still be with the Seahawks, but he stepped down as coach like BA did when he won the Super Bowl for the Buccaneers. He didn't retire. He just moved upstairs and kind of counseled the team. So I think that's what Pete Carroll is going to do, but I'll talk about that in a second as well. But I'm happy to see the Falcons and the Saints season be over. Better luck next time, suckers. But then you had the Jets and the Patriots. Jets win 17-3. Nobody really cares about that game because it mattered none for both those teams. Buccaneers beat the Panthers 9-0. One of the worst Bucks games I've ever seen. One of the worst Bucks games all year. Somehow we happened to beat the Panthers. We got lucky. DJ Chark was wide open, should have scored a touchdown, but Antoine Winfield, one of the best safeties, if not the best safety in the NFL, by the way, got snubbed from the Pro Bowl for Budda Baker, who has no stats, which is crazy. Make that make sense. But anyways, he saved a touchdown. Chark at the goal line reached for the touchdown. Antoine Winfield knocked the ball out of his hands. He fumbled into the end zone, giving us a touchback. If he didn't do that, I don't think we would have won that game. Baker Mayfield may have been hurt from the Saints game. His ribs were sore. He twisted his ankle in this game. Couldn't get nothing behind his throws. Couldn't make no throws. Overthrew everything he tried to throw. Nothing happened for us. So we ended up kicking 3 field goals. Thank God for McLaughlin. We solved our kicking woes. Hopefully, knock on wood, because in the playoffs he could miss. But man, winning 9-0 in an ugly fashion. We did it banged up, but we did it. We get to host a home game in the playoffs, third straight time winning the NFC South. Baker Mayfield hosting this, not hosting. I don't know if he hosted the last playoff game, but he's in his second playoff game. Hopefully he can get a second playoff win and just keep it moving. We play the Eagles first round because we win our division. We're the lowest division winner, so we play the highest wild card seed, which is the the Eagles, for losing their division to the Cowboys. It's gonna be a fight, but I'll talk about that a little bit when we get there. Next game after that, the Browns lost to the Bengals 31-14. Again, a lot of these players were sitting, teams that were solidified and made the playoffs already sat because they don't need to really play. Green Bay beats the Bears 17-9 to stay as the 7th seed in the playoffs and stay and make the wild card. Cowboys smacked the Commanders 38-10 to win that division and put the Eagles as the 5 seed. Broncos lose to the Raiders 27-14. Antonio Pierce has these boys playing, won a couple of games in his tenure as interim coach for Josh McDaniels. So maybe he'll stay as the head coach over there. We'll see. But he's doing a good job end of the season. Got the players, morale up in the team out there in Vegas. So we'll see. If Jim Harbaugh don't go there, I think he has a good chance to stay as that coach. Seahawks, well, no, let me see. Giants beat the Eagles 27-10. Eagles are just looking terrible to end the season. I don't know what it is. Giants do get that victory, but I hope they stay bad because they about to play the Buccaneers, and I hope that's a little something they can do. Just stay bad for your boy and let us get a playoff win, just one, and I'll be happy with it. You know what I'm saying? Seahawks beat the Cardinals 21-20. Pete Carroll goes out on top. I think he's just done with the rigmarole, and he's done with the trials and tribulations of being head coach. He's like 71, 72 years old. So I think it's time for him to step down as well, let another coach get in there, get some shine. They're looking at Dan Quinn to replace Pete Carroll as head coach over there in Seattle, famously known as being the defensive coordinator in the Legion of Boom years. So he's thinking of stepping over and taking over for Pete Carroll, but he of course has to finish the season out with the Cowboys, so you probably won't hear much about it until after, or if the Cowboys lose. So we'll see what happens with that. But shouts out to him, and also how can I not mention Bill Belichick also retiring at the same time, which was kind of weird. 3 legendary head coaches retiring all around the same time. Bill Belichick, 24 seasons, 6 Super Bowls, 17 division wins. And just the stalwart and just synonymous with New England, and for the fact that I'm lying. He's not retiring. He's just actually parting ways with the Patriots. So I think he is up for people are looking at him. Chargers looking at him, Washington's looking at him, the Panthers maybe all looking for that head coach. I don't know if he's gonna do the head coach GM combo like he usually does, but my mistake. He's not actually retiring. But it just seems like he is, because him not being a coach for New England is crazy, though he did coach for the Browns once in time. But him, 24 years with the Patriots, it's just crazy for him to actually leave the team and not be not really retiring with the Patriots. You know what I mean? Interesting. But yeah, Rams beat the 49ers 21-20. It was a backup game, a bunch of backups, but the Rams are going to brag every time they beat the 49ers. They're rivals. So Sam Darnold was out there trying. Chiefs beat the Chargers 13-12. I don't know. I don't know if the Chiefs are just playing possum right now, but they going into the playoffs kind of sluggish. Everybody's kind of like pushing them to the side. Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson are all the hype right now. So we'll see if Mahomes can come through and just make everybody remember why he's 2-time Super Bowl and why everybody's saying he's the greatest coming of quarterback since Tom Brady. But we'll see. And then the Bills I forgot who they played. They played, I don't know. They won 21 to something, but the Bills won, solidifying their division over the Dolphins, and they did win their division, so they're hosting that game against the Steelers in the playoffs. So hopefully I won y'all some money this week. You know what I'm saying? It was a great season. me, doing these picks throughout the year and doing it for y'all. It's been cool, and I really appreciate y'all sticking with me and actually listening. If you have been listening throughout this, marking them down, making you some money, doing prize picks. I don't know, whatever you've been doing. If this helped a lot for y'all, I appreciate it. And just let me know. Let me know in the comments down below, so I'm not out here wasting my time. You know what I'm saying? I can get to the nitty gritty for y'all a little bit faster if I cut this out. You know what I mean? But I like to do it for y'all. I like football a lot. I know a lot of people like football a lot. I know fantasy football matters a lot to people. So all this stuff is all encompassing, you know what I'm saying? But with that, without further ado, let's get into the playoff matchups. So the first game, we got a couple of Saturday games. We got the Browns playing against the Texans. Texans are the division winners, so they are playing at home. My prediction in this game, I do think the Browns are going to win. That defense is playing incredible. Joe Flacco is playing incredible. I mean, the Houston Texans are a great story right now. Again, they did win the division. CJ Stroud is a rookie. D'Amico Ryan's rookie head coach. Defense playing incredible. Young boys on the defense for Houston. But I think Cleveland's going to be a little too much. They're experienced. Joe Flacco, of course, is experienced. Amari Cooper and Njoku found a whole nother level with Joe Flacco. They're throwing it around. I think Myles Garrett will be healed up. Again, that defense is playing great. It's been playing great all year, and I think they'll just have enough to shut down the beginner's luck of Houston. So I think the Browns will win that game. Dolphins versus Chiefs. This game is going to be crazy. It's in Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City. The Chiefs have been there before every year, 5-time, 6-time division champ. So they're experienced and they're ready. They won last year. They know what it's about. They know what this time of year is about. The Dolphins have been getting punched in the mouth by good teams over 500 all year. Everybody's kind of saying that they don't really have what it takes against teams that actually have been there before and have big hitters. But I don't know, man. I like this Dolphins team and I like their attitude. If they're fully healthy and have all their weapons on offense, Waddle, Mostert's healthy, A-Chain's healthy, line's blocking, defense is healthy. I know Jalen Phillips and Bradley Chubb are going to be out. Their outside linebackers, their pass rush is going to be a little messed up, given Pat Mahomes a lot of time in the pocket. But I would like to see the Dolphins win. It's going to be hella cold out there. They're down in Miami because they're a warm weather team, man. Excuse me. It just sets up for success and sets up for an upset. And I like it. I got the Dolphins in that one. Then Sunday, we have the Bills hosting the Steelers. I think the Bills are going to win. Steelers known for their defense. No TJ Watt. Bills high-powered offense. I think they're just going to walk through them. Cowboys playing the Packers. Packers lucky to be there, 7 seed. I think the Cowboys are going to do what they do to under 500 teams, what they've been doing all year, and they're probably going to stomp them at home. I'm sorry, Packers. I give y'all a 1% chance to win that. I'm sorry, Jaime. Rams versus the Lions. Lions are at home against the Rams. I think this is probably the most evenly matched game. Matthew Stafford playing in Detroit against the Detroit Lions, a team that traded him away. You know what I'm saying? The team he played for most of his career, left to win a Super Bowl with the Rams first year there. It's gonna be a good game. Rams have been causing havoc for teams all year. The underdog, the team that everybody's kind of scared to play because they have these players that are just coming out of nowhere and performing when everybody thought that with the leaving of Ramsey, with the leaving of a couple of other pieces on that defense, that the team wouldn't be the same. They're showing out and overachieving this year. So I wouldn't want to play them at this time of the year. They're looking hot right now, pause. And I think the Lions, man, just haven't been showing up all the time. So we'll see what happens. But I got the Rams in that game. And then lastly, on Monday, we got the Bucks versus the Eagles, man. I'm going to be straight up with you. We hosting this game because we won our division. We playing the Eagles. I think we played the Eagles at home earlier this season, but this is going to have to be best game of the season, man. Baker Mayfield can't have a game like he had last week against the Panthers. We can't let them do whatever they wanted to do against us like they did last time they played us. We held our own a little bit. They didn't blow us out of the water, but there's some stuff we're going to have to shut down in order to even be competitive. The run, we have to completely eliminate that with DeAndre Swift and that tush push or whatever they call it, brotherly shove. We got to limit that. Put them in 3rd and long so they can't be doing that. Put them in 4th and long so they can't be doing that all game. Because I know if they get a big lead on us, we're not going to be able to score. I know their DBs and stuff are susceptible to be getting hit, but I don't know if our running game is going to be able to do enough against their defensive line and their linebackers to make that passing game effective. I don't want to have to be playing from behind and Baker Mayfield just looking bad in the playoffs, just throwing interceptions to try to play hero ball. You know what I'm saying? I want us to play our game, get our defense, get in Jalen Hurts' head early, and hopefully we can make some plays and get short field, get some touchdowns, and make them play from behind. You know what I'm saying? Pause. And try to get some shit done instead of us always playing from behind, and actually show that we have some luster and some that we are going to be competitive against teams that are better than us on paper. So it's going to be a great playoffs. I can't wait to see what happens. I'm rooting for the Bucks all the way, but I really think the Eagles are going to win. I'm going to be realistic. You know what I'm saying? We shouldn't even really be in the playoffs given what we've been doing all season, our ups and downs. If the 7 teams didn't make it, I mean, I don't know. I don't want to say that because we won our division. Our division was bad, but it's points in our year where our coach should have been fired, Baker should have been benched. But the 4-game win streak, I think it was, put everybody back in good graces, and we're playing with house money after that after we won the division. So I think Bowles will be back. I think Bakers will be back. Despite what happens in the playoffs, and hopefully pay Mike Evans, hopefully pay Antoine Winfield. I would say we should pay Devin White, but we'll see how he performs in the playoffs, and if he can make some plays and get us past the Eagles, maybe we'll be way more high to consider that, or I don't want to say more highly, you know what I'm saying, because that's a double negative, but I was just way more willing to give you that money and keep you around if you prove something and stop some tight ends in the goddamn playoffs. So yeah, I got the Browns versus the Texans in Houston. I got the Dolphins versus the Chiefs in the upset in Arrowhead. I got the Bills at home against the Steelers. I got the Cowboys at home against the Packers. I'm gonna pick the Rams. I got the Rams in the upset in Detroit, and then I got the Eagles at home. I mean, I got the Eagles against the Bucks in Tampa, but I'm hoping that the Bucks can come up with the win. You know what I'm saying? Just because I'm picking against y'all don't mean I don't want y'all to win. Just let y'all know that. Tampa Bay listeners, Tampa Bay fans, Tampa, if you listen, and Bucks, if you listen, and whatever. But hey, let's move on. After that NBA check-in real quick, let's talk about this NBA, man. Let's talk about the Nuggets first. Nuggets, they're making me kind of mad, man. We're hovering around the top of the NBA, on the Western Conference. OKC and the Wolves are only one game ahead of us. If we can get our shit together and string together a couple of wins, we can take the 1 seed from them. But these young boys, they're not ready to lose yet, man. They're out here trying to prove that they have what it takes, and they're new threats in the West. And they do have some young teams that were put together right, and their young coaches that put together right and kind of etched into their head that they could be the next Nuggets. I think that's what they have etched in their heads. I'm not trying to brag and say that, the Nuggets are what everybody wants to be, but I'm saying like the new young team that has been put together through trials and tribulations. You've been through it all. The OKC Thunder has completely revamped their team in the last couple of years with draft picks and trading away big players. The Wolves have been as well, just kind of like just on the verge, you know what I'm saying? Karl Anthony Towns just kind of trying to get that potential past where it needs to be, and take the team to a next level and be that franchise player. But he's had players around him that didn't really, take him over the top or weren't able to coax him into taking the next step. You had Jimmy Butler, you had Andrew Wiggins, a bunch of people that were there just weren't the right people. But once they got Gobert and Anthony Edwards has come in, with a couple of defending wings and a veteran like Mike Conley, they've been able to do a lot. They've been able to sit at the number 1 seed almost all season, almost halfway through the season. But this is where, a lot of teams start sprinting. If they don't have the experience, they start sprinting right away and don't really pace themselves, and just one injury away from dropping. The West, is really tight. At one point there was like the standings were 11. I'm talking about losses were 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, all in a row. You know what I'm saying? So it's that tight in the West. So a couple of games losing, you can drop kind of far. A couple of games winning, you could be pushed to the top. So it's kind of like all about how much do you want it? The Nuggets at times don't seem like they want it. I mean, we are not sitting on our laurels just because we won the championship last year. We're not in cruise control. It just seems like we're trying to figure it out. Sometimes we show up against teams that we're supposed to show up against. Sometimes we don't show up against teams we're supposed to show up against. And it's just kind of like, okay, what's our identity? People saw that we won last year and could take it, what we did in the playoffs, and just they take that with a grain of salt because it took so much. It took us winning the championship in that fashion for people to even recognize us. So, being able to be competitive and being consistent throughout the regular season is a must. And then showing up again in April is a must. You know what I mean? But losing games like yesterday's game against the Utah Jazz or playing teams like the Chicago Bulls and just letting them outplay you every game. Just in Houston, teams like that, they're playing the champs, so they're bringing it every night. But you think you're playing a team that has no chance or is not as good, so you put it in cruise control. And if the big lead happens, it happens, whatever. But you know, what I'm saying. I don't like that shit. The Nuggets just needs to bring it. I mean, Jokic has done what he needed to do to prove that he wants it. Two-time MVP, Finals MVP, championship. You know what I'm saying? He shouldn't have to play extra, extra, extra. I'm not saying he shouldn't play hard, but he shouldn't have to play astonishing every game just for the team to win. You know what I'm saying? We need people to step up. It's been years now. We need MPJ to be a constant factor, not a sometimes factor. Jamal, we need him to stay healthy. He's coming back off a bunch of injuries. Get yourself right and just find a balance and just be consistent. KCP, he's great at defense, but scoring, can we get a constant 10, 12? You know what I'm saying? AG, I know he's coming back from that injury, being bit by the dog and all that, but can we get just like, a couple of, you should be dunking on people, get some people in the foul trouble. Let's get like 5, 6 free throws out of you each game. You should be in the paint bullying people. And if you don't make the dunk, you don't make the layup, you should be getting fouled. You know what I mean? So that core 5 of players that we have should be able to go off and supplement any woes that our bench may be bringing to the team. I know Peyton Watson's young. I know Christian Brown's young. I know Zeke Najee's young. I know DeAndre Jordan doesn't play that much. I know Justin Holiday didn't really play that much where he was. Reggie Jackson is just now stepping into a prominent role on the bench. It's just a lot of stuff that has to mesh, and this is what the trials and tribulations of the regular season are for. These teams that I mentioned before are just sprinting right now. They haven't really faced that adversity yet. So once that does kick in, I think that's the time the Nuggets will settle in and be able to move to the top. But on the other end of the spectrum, I know I'm very biased to talking about the West because I don't really follow the East as much as I do the West. But we're going to talk about these Warriors real quick and how they can't seem to win a game or get it together. I mean, Draymond has been suspended. We know that he's been out a couple of games, but even before that, they couldn't really find what it takes for them to get victories, man. They got completely blown out by the Pelicans the other night by 36. The biggest blowout or biggest loss for them in the Steve Kerr era. You know what I'm saying? Each game it seems to get a little bit worse. It seems like a little bit more is being chipped off the Warriors, everybody's available except for Steph Curry type shit, which is not good for morale. Everybody thinks that their ownership wants to get rid of him, so they're gonna play worse, not better. The whole Kuminga shit, him about wanting to get more playing time is getting blown up. So now they're making him the bad guy and trying to paint him as the next Jordan Poole, which isn't necessarily good for the team at all. It's just wild, just because he wants more playing time. And I know now, since the Warriors have been so good for so long and they're not good right now, they're gonna jump ship. They're gonna wholesale trade everybody just so they can get somebody of prominence and try to get back on the right note. They tried to do that with Chris Paul, and like Chris Paul does, he ended up getting hurt. So, I mean, you have to take time and try to find a player that is good for the future of the team, that could be accepted in San Francisco and that actually wants to be there, and that can be under the tutelage of Steph Curry until he retires, and that can just, make the team competitive and take them from where they are right now, because being 12th, 13th place is not where they should be. And if you want them to go out with grace, we need them to be better than that. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not a fan of the Warriors, but I mean the NBA, because that team, 4 championships, should be, highly regarded. Not saying them going out right now is going to be forgotten about or discredit their championships, but when they do go out, we want them to go out not being terrible and actually being good, and not just saying that they just completely fell off, that they gradually did, but not just completely fell off a cliff like they're doing now. You know what I mean? But hopes they do something by trade deadline, because I know I got a lot of family and friends that are fans of the Warriors. So hoping they get it together and do better, because it just sucks to see them terrible like this. And Lakers too, though we have our beefs with the Lakers and Warriors, or Lakers and Nuggets. I just feel like them not succeeding like that, and LeBron James being in year 21 and doing all the shit that he's doing, the highlights we see every night, that shit's being wasted away. I don't know what they're going to do. I mean, every move that they made in the offseason was supposed to be the move that took them to the next level, that make them competitors and contenders for the championship right away. But none of that's working. A lot of their players are being looked at as movable players now. Everybody they thought that was going to be the savior for the Lakers are now just being players that are looked at as like, okay, who we trading for? Who we trading for to get Zach LaVine? Who we trading for to get this guy? Who we trading for to get who we packaging? It just sucks to have a team like that, and just man, it just sucks to be at that point rather than everybody being competitive. Now we have teams that are the good teams that are, been putting pieces together for a couple of years, except for in Clippers, on the Clippers side, where they just got four superstars and just say, hey, we're going to get better eventually. And once we're good, we'll just make a run. And that's what they're doing. But I don't know. It's going to be a race. The Celtics on the other side on the East are just beating everybody and just making it look way too easy. Philadelphia and beating them, they're just kind of walking through shit too. So I think in the East, the two biggest threats in the East are going to be the Bucks and the Celtics. Though Embiid is out here making a run, doing some crazy stuff, trying to make win MVP again. I think the two teams only really making much noise are going to be the Celtics and the Bucks. Those Celtics are way far above all those other teams. I think the Bucks are the only ones that are going to be able to actually compete since they have Giannis and Dame. Celtics with Brown, Tatum, Porzingis, Derek White, and Drew Holiday. I know hearing Derek White as a somebody that takes them over the top on everybody is crazy back in the day, but now he turned into a great player. Ever since he cut that hair, boy, he's been balling. So I don't know. The NBA season it's been good so far. Shout out to Ja. I know you guys heard the Ja news. He hurt his shoulder and is out for the season after only playing 8 games, coming off that suspension. So prayers out to him, man. Get better. Seeing Zion play this year has been good. Seeing him actually out in the court and actually playing some minutes and not being hurt, that's been great as well. Yeah, so there's been some good stuff out there in the NBA, man. I just like to check in with them and just let everybody know what's going on. I've been watching. I know your team's out there hooping. We almost halfway through. So, you know what I mean? Hopefully everybody makes some good moves in the trade deadline, because I want to see everybody eat, man. I don't like seeing all the good teams be bad and now the bad teams are good. It's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy. And I mean, as these good players, older players phase out, they're on the teams that are bad. So we gonna man, it's tough, but shouts out to them and prayers out to everybody. Hope they get better. I mean, new year, I'm hoping it wouldn't start like that for these guys. But Eric Spoelstra, though, shouts out to him because I heard he just huge deal for Miami Heat. He's the coach for Miami Heat. 8 years, 120 million after he got the divorce. You know what I'm saying? So his wife couldn't take the money while he was married on a new extension. All this shit's new money. Smart man. And out there in Florida, no income, no state income tax. Man, supposed to be eating for a minute. 8 years, god damn. But yeah. And lastly, guys, let me take y'all to Cinema Corner. And for Cinema Corner, you know what I'm gonna do? You already know what gets done during Cinema Corner. Wait, why is this shit crazy like this? We gonna talk about Marvel just dropped a new show. I know y'all know. I know y'all heard of it. I know y'all was waiting for it. Yeah, it's time. Dual cameras. Yeah. Echo, Marvel, Disney Plus, new TV show. We've been all waiting for it. The little tie-in, you know what I'm saying? Walk us into, Daredevil, walk us into Hell's Kitchen, walk us into the street level of the MCU. Spider-Man 4 is supposed to be a street level type of Infinity War type shit with Kingpin being Thanos, and you got Jessica Jones, Spider-Man, Echo, Hawkeye, and all these other street level characters. Hopefully Luke Cage, these New York street level characters. So we're gonna see that expand. This season of Echo was a 5-episode release. It was pretty cool, man. I don't know exactly how I feel about it. I know a lot of people out there are saying it was really good. IGN gave it an 8, but me personally, I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to talk a little down on it. Me personally, I like it for what it was. Indigenous Native American girl. She had the leg missing, you know what I'm saying? So they really they gave the actor an opportunity to represent for the disabled as well and the Native American as well, the Native Americans as well. So I like that aspect. I like the cultural aspect of it, but the story was just a little weak for me. A lot of the stuff they showed in the actual TV show was actually already shown in one Hawkeye. If you guys saw that when it came out with Kate Bishop and and everybody from Hawkeye, but the first episode they showed a lot of that, and a lot of her story was told in that. They didn't really take time to show her development, show her hero's journey. They're just jumping us right in from where we saw on Hawkeye. That was one of my gripes. Also, it's like her power slash skill in the show was able to kind of like mimic stuff. I want to say something on the level of um Taskmaster. So she would watch somebody fight, and after a couple of minutes of doing that, she can get it and beat that person. That's what it was hyped up to be in Hawkeye. In this show, it didn't really show much of that. They just showed her beating people up. Again, also, I like how she's representing for people that are deaf as well. Did I mention that? No, yeah, just Native American and disabled. But yeah, she's also deaf. It was just really quiet. I know people probably, when they do sign language, they also mouth out what they're saying and talk it so people can read lips. But I thought it was kind of annoying for them to be signing and whisper talking the whole time. I know that may sound bad, but just how I felt. You know what I'm saying? Don't kill me for it. Um, but I did find it kind of weird how they were signing and talking at the same time. I didn't like how they didn't show how Echo got this badass at fighting. I don't like how they try to incorporate superpowers into it. You know what I'm saying? I know she's like a descendant of some Native Americans. I know they try to kind of mix in the indigenous and the culture of the place she was at in Oklahoma and stuff like that. But I didn't like the power they gave her. It gave her super strength to disconnect the chain on the train, and then all of the Native Americans in Oklahoma in the last fighting scene when they all had the glowing hand, all the women had the glowing hands, were able to fight. It was a lot. No, it was a lot. I feel like the story didn't really progress at all. A lot happened, but nothing happened. There's a lot of fighting, a lot of like gangster stuff happening, but like no story happened. We all saw when she shot Kingpin in the head at the end of Hawkeye. But you know what I'm saying? He wasn't even angry about it. He wasn't angry about being shot. He just wanted to get her back ultimately in the show. And then after that, they came face to face, and all she did was beat up all his minions. You know what I'm saying? They had no ill will towards each other. And okay, also, sorry, I'm jumping around a lot. I know. I'm just thinking about it all off top. Why did she hit Kingpin with the avatar at the end of the episode, bro? So is she gonna have healing powers now? I don't know what they were trying to do with it, but I think they did too much. You know what I'm saying? When they introduced her character, like I said, as the Echo character, that was cool. Have her fight, have her be hella cool, have her be fighting level where she can stick up and hold her own against Daredevil. Again, that's another gripe. Why did you throw in that Daredevil cameo for no reason? Like, first of all, I wasn't really feeling the fight choreography, how they make it seem like Echo can hang with Daredevil. Daredevil be whooping the shit out of mostly everybody, and then Echo comes and is able to hang with them to the fact where Daredevil supposedly just runs away. Like, come on now. Come on now. Like, when did she get this hardcore? What happened? We showed her doing karate in one scene when she was little. But then all of a sudden, we just are supposed to believe that she's the most badass person on earth, can just whoop 26 people without having any powers whatsoever. I was just really confused. And I was also really confused in the show as to what her motivations were. Did she want to kill Kingpin? Did she want to come home just to reconcile with her grandmother? Like, what was the ultimate purpose of the show? Like, how is she going to be any importance to the MCU? How is she going to incorporate her and bring in anything to the Spider-Man 4? Because ultimately, nobody tried to shoot her. Like, she's fighting, doing a whole bunch of cool shit. But whenever people tried to look at her and try to fight her, they never just thought to pick up a gun and shoot. They all just kind of like, okay, we're gonna fight. And then I don't know. I don't know. They didn't explain. I don't know. I was just confused. I was just really confused. Please, somebody explain to me if you can. what was going on because yeah, it was just a lot. Maybe I need to watch it again before I actually kind of give my my review on what I think was happening throughout the whole thing or what I really feel. But just after watching all five, they dropped all five episodes all in a row. So I watched it all. I don't know. I don't know. It was one of those shows where I couldn't help but look down at my phone because of boredom at times. And then at the same time, if you were looking down at your phone, you're gonna miss everything that Maya's saying because she's doing sign language. But the other people are talking while they're doing sign language. So you can kind of peep into what they're saying. It just seems like they're monologuing and talking to themselves the whole time because if you're looking now, you can miss anything that Maya's saying. It was a lot. But I do encourage everybody to see it. Man, I'm trying to get somebody on soon to kind of go over it with me. But again, I do like they're representing for the indigenous people, Native Americans, giving the disabled a chance to act and giving them that real representation. But it was just a little slow. It was just a little slow. It's like you only can give us so many of these super soldier, super assassin characters. We get it. We want to see powers, though. We want to see powers. Echo is cool. She was cool as a Kate Bishop side character, but a show, 5 episodes about Echo, I don't think we can do it, especially if we couldn't do it without rehashing hella shit from Hawkeye or using hella flashbacks from shit that we didn't need to see. Like, I knew exactly when we got to episode 4, we were moving too far in the action for them not to do hella flashbacks. Plus, we saw all the flashbacks in the preview, so we knew it was going to happen. We saw the Daredevil fight on Twitter, on social media. Y'all teased, you showed the whole thing and then told us it was only going to be a 5-minute fight scene, and the fight scene was the best thing in the show, and it wasn't even that good. I could sound like a hater right now. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I was just really disappointed, and I thought it was going to be way better. I thought Daredevil was going to be way more involved. I thought Kingpin was going to be way more involved. He was really just crying the whole season, crying. Oh, I want Maya. I want Maya. Bruh, come on, bruh. And then the Avatar thing at the end, bro. She turned into Avatar. She taking people's powers away. What did you do to me? It was just a lot, bro. But again, I digress. Let me not be ultimate hater man right now. Let me just back up a little bit and just take it in. You know what I'm saying? Best of Bias family. Let me know what you guys feel about Echo if you watched it. I know Damo, I know Ant watched it. A lot of the homies watched it. So I'm gonna get them on again to talk about it real soon and let their real feelings out. I don't want to seem like a hater because you know what I'm saying. I know what they're trying to do. They're trying to get a whole bunch of different demographics, nationalities, the Kamala Khans, the Mayas, Native Americans. They gave us stuff for Black people as well, with Ironheart and Wakanda and Black Panther. They're doing a bunch, but me personally, I would like them to delve a little bit deeper into these cultures and represent a little bit more than a whole bunch of surface level kind of stereotypical stuff they like to do in these movies. I did hear they worked a lot with the native tribe. Excuse me, I'm sorry, I forgot exactly what the name was, but the native tribe in that area to get more realistic representation. And I think they dubbed the show in their language as well to also help with that representation. I love that, but you can tell they don't do their research all the way. They kind of do surface level stuff, and it's kind of like cheesy, kind of stereotypical stuff about the culture and just kind of like run with it. So people are like, oh, that's kind of what our culture is about, but it doesn't really go. Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah. You guys know what I mean. You guys know what I mean. You know what Marvel does. But go check it out. I was just left a little confused, but you know what I'm saying, I'm gonna check it all out no matter what and just review it for y'all, just let y'all know what I thought about it if you guys weren't able to check it out, if you guys aren't able to have Disney Plus. I'm your guy. Check it out. YouTube is free. I can let you guys know every single time, and I will let you know every single time. But that's all I got for you guys today, man. A little slow week this week in the cycles. I guess another thing that happened to Glenn Stephen Yoon from Walking Dead, he's out as Sentry in Thunderbolts. I guess he got too busy and they kept pushing the movie back, the filming back. They're not going to put it out until like next year, July of 2025. So it couldn't work with the schedule. So he's out. If you were looking forward to seeing him, just won a bunch of Emmys for his show Beef on Netflix. So he's a hot commodity right now, even though he was kind of before after Walking Dead. But he's out of Thunderbolts, and that's kind of another show where it's like everybody got the same powers and everybody's super soldiers and spies. It's just we want to see X-Men, we want to see Avengers, we want to see stuff with powers and variety, not the same shit rehashed over and over and over. But again, I digress. We to the end of the episode where I like to let them know where you can find your boy at. It's Patrick_Lydell on the Snapchat, Patrick or SAC_Lydell on the Instagram. I'm on X2, just Patrick Lydell on the I said Snapchat. If you look for the well, I can't talk, man. I'm getting so close to the end. I'm getting excited. But on the podcast, you can look for us on YouTube. It's Best of Bias Podcast all the time, every day, every single time. Anything else, Best of Bias Podcast, just type it in the net. You find Growly right here. You can find anything related to us. Thank you again, AKA, for putting these videos together. Always, having them perfect, pristine, quoting us up, putting us with the tags on the bottom, keeping us laced up and keeping everybody that listens to the podcast audio and likes to listen to it video wise, had given them a chance to do that, and I appreciate him every time for doing that. So I got to shout him out too. So again, anybody want to be on the pod, hit me up. The homies are still kind of scared, but you guys know who the loved ones on that love to be on the pod. They're always coming back. Get Ash Wash on here and Damo and V-Ron soon to talk about the challenge. I got a lot to say about this new challenge and the new format, man. So I liked it at the beginning. We talked it up at the beginning, but now I got some shit to say. But more content, more life, more tournaments, the whole spiel. You guys heard about the cartoon and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Family out there, if you guys want to contribute to the cartoon as well, let me know. We need some more voice actors. LBZ, hit me up. Some various new guests that want to be on the pod. Have been seeing what's been going on and is trying to get down with the get down. So I got plenty of guests for you guys and the family coming up in 2024. It's more life, man. And these lives will start coming again. I was going to do a live today, but I decided not to, just because, situations didn't provide itself this time. But next week we're not having a pod again. It's my birthday. We going now having a little celebratory, but keep tabs on the Snapchat, keep tabs on the Instagram, because we'll be updating y'all the whole time, trying to get some vlogging done. Got a whole bunch of stuff ready. I said I was gonna do that for Comic-Con. I didn't really do much, but for real this time we're going to get it done. Tropical places, tropical faces. We're going to be out there. It's the Best of Bias podcast. So we're going to do more and more and more. But yeah, next week, no pod. We're going to be on vacay, and wish me a happy birthday. 33 years old in the building. God bless. Hope everybody's having a great Friday. Hope everybody had a great Friday. And watch some football this Sunday and Saturday and Monday. You know what I'm saying? Hope your team win. Hope you guys advance. And if you do advance and my team advance, I'll see y'all next round, because only one can win the Super Bowl. But yeah, it's your boy, Lydell Dinero, and I'm out of here. Love y'all, lovely people. Yeah. These dogs are getting antsy, so I got to get out of here. Where that theme song at? It's right here. Love y'all. It's the best of bias. You need the earful. You should try us. From pop culture to the movies to unite us. It's the best of bias. The best of bias. Yeah. It's the best of bias.